Today I want to tell you a little story. Let's do a little something different. I want to tell you a story about a purple ping pong ball. Now, I plan to use this for the children's sermon at the sung Mass later, but I just couldn't help sharing this story with you as well. In fact, you might say I've gotten more mileage out of that one little story than all the others I've ever told in my life. And I'm not really that much of a storyteller to start with. When I was a boy growing up in Shreveport, I'd visit other family over in Monroe periodically, and I especially enjoyed spending time with my cousins, Derek and Bart. And we were all a similar age. One was just a year or so younger, and the other one a year or so older, so we were all very much compatriots and had a lot of fun playing together. And I'd go and spend the night, and we'd stay up late, watching movies and playing games and telling stories in our sleeping bags in the living room way late into the night. And so one night I told a story. It was my turn to make up a story. So I told a story about a father and his very good son and his request for a purple ping pong ball. So the story kind of goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a very wealthy man, a successful tycoon, who had a son, and he loved this boy very much, his only son. Nothing was too good for his boy. The father, of course, had an amazing house, a mansion, and that's where the boy was raised. His father had anything you could ever want, and so the boy had the finest things. He had the finest nanny, the finest cook, the finest tutors. Everything the man gave his son was for him, and he had all that he could ever need. He always had the finest that money could buy. The furniture in his bedroom was handcrafted from the finest materials. All the boy's clothes were personally designed according to the latest fashions and hand-tailored. And increasingly, as he grew up, it would be, of course, renewed and renewed again as he got larger. His father ensured that his son had every possible advantage. He was signed up for all the offerings in recreation and sports. He had a personal ski instructor in the Swiss Alps. He learned to play golf from the PGA champion at St. Andrews in Scotland. He learned the equestrian arts from a young age and became very skilled in horsemanship and in playing polo. As for swimming lessons, an Olympic champion was his instructor. He was, of course, regularly attended to by doctors and physical trainers and nutritionists, so his health was perfect, and he excelled in many sports. His mind, though, was just as good and developed by the finest teachers. The boy was sent to the finest boarding schools, and he always, of course, had extra attention from tutors and instructors. He learned the arts and sciences from the finest people in those fields. Well, on his 16th birthday, he was home from boarding school for spring break. His father, of course, was so proud. His son was doing so well in every possible way. His health was perfect. His grades were top-notch. He did great in sports. He excelled in so many activities. He was the champion debater. He won the spelling bee. The other students in the chess club would always go to him to ask for his strategies. His son had so many friends, was constantly in good spirits, and widely regarded for wisdom beyond his years. The father could not have been more proud. Of course, he wanted to reward his son. And so he asked the boy what he wanted for his birthday. This had to be something special. What do you want for your birthday? Anything you want. You have earned it, my son. Well, Dad, what I really want for my birthday. Go on, son, what is it? Anything you want, anything at all. Well, what I really want for my birthday is a purple ping pong ball. The father was speechless. This was not the first time that he had heard such a request. As the boy was growing up, the father would, of course, especially want to encourage and reward his son year after year and lavish the finest gifts upon him. When the dad asked his boy what he might want, the only answer he ever got was, "I want a purple ping pong ball." But the dad never gave him one. How could he? The man would ask his son, "What you want?" And why would he give him that? It never made sense. And he asked about it, but he never got an answer. "I can't really say," is all he ever got. But who would want such a thing? I mean, don't get me wrong, the father was really honored by the son's humility and lowliness. He was such a good boy. He never asked for anything fancy or expensive. But that's exactly what he deserved. And that's exactly what he got. Things fancy and expensive. Birthdays, Christmases, only the finest and the best were good enough for his son. If there was any toy that year at Christmas that was all the rage, you can be sure that his son was going to have it. Money was never any object. A ping pong ball for your 16th birthday? "Son, why do you want a ping pong ball?" The boy, again, was at a loss for words. I really can't say. The dad went on, No. You deserve so much more, my son. You know what? You're 16 now. You've started to learn how to drive. I'm getting you a car. Not just any car. How about a sports car, a Ferrari? How about that? That's going to be it." Well, the boy always very humbly and kindly accepted his father's lavish gifts. He thanked him and showed him appreciation. And he used the things that he was given always. Well, that Christmas, the boy came home from boarding school for Christmas holiday break, and he was driving the car that his father had given him. It was, of course, immaculate. It was shiny and red, spotless, not a scratch. And in fact, the boy was driving himself to a little concert. He was singing Christmas carols with some of his friends at a local nursing home. And he was a good driver and a responsible driver, but it was icy, and the roads were hazardous, and he ran off the road, and it was a bad accident, and he was care-flighted to the hospital. His father got word and met him there, and the doctor told his dad that the boy was badly injured. It was touch and go. The dad knelt down by the hospital bed of his son, and he held his hand, and he wept and prayed for him. "Son, I'm here. I love you. I'd do anything for you." "I love you too, Dad. I'm sorry about the car." "Don't mind that. All I care about is you." "They tell me I'm in pretty bad shape too, Dad." "Son, you're so special to me. I love you so much. You're going to get the best care. If anybody can get through this, you can. How are you feeling? Is there anything I can do for you? Anything at all?" "Well, there is one thing you could do for me. Could you get something for me?" "Dad, would you get me a purple ping pong ball?" The man was stunned. Again, his eyes filled with tears. Okay, I'll get it for you, anything you want. But son, I don't understand. All your life, I've given you the finest things, and all you've ever asked me for is a purple ping pong ball. Why? I just don't understand. Again, the son said, I can't say. He said, "Son, I'll get it for you. Trust me, I will get you that ping pong ball. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. But Please tell me, why a purple ping pong ball? What does it all mean? Okay, Dad, I'll tell you. He was so weak, his voice barely a whisper. The reason I always wanted a purple ping pong ball is, and the boy's voice trailed off, and the beeping heart monitor went static, and he died. And my cousins were so mad when I told that story. They fussed at me all night long. Finish the story. How does it end? How can it end like that? Why did the boy want a purple ping pong ball? I said, how should I know? I didn't make up that part of the story. The story was just to get to that very annoying cliffhanger. When we get together again, they'd ask me about it, harass me about it. What does it mean? Why did he want that purple ping pong ball? When I was 13, I moved across the country, so I didn't see my cousins nearly that often during high school and college years. And in fact, I forgot all about that story of the purple ping pong ball. A few years ago, I saw them again when we got together at a funeral, and I hadn't seen them in years. But we talked and talked. It was like no time had passed. We were catching up on old times. And then one of them said, so what about that purple ping pong ball? And at first, I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. I had forgotten about that long ago. And it took several minutes of prodding and probing to get the memory to finally start to come back. They still wanted the rest of the story. They still wanted an answer. And so now, over 3 decades later, I've come up with one. So now you're going to get the rest of the story. And you too, Derek and Bart. Well, that static heart monitor, of course, got the doctors and nurses in the room very quickly. They started CPR. Soon it was beeping again. He was alive again, at least for a little while longer. The boy started to come around. His dad was back at his bedside, weeping. I'm here, my son. I thought we almost lost you. With you, Dad, I can pull through anything. I have to hang on. I can't die without getting that purple ping pong ball. Son, I don't understand. That's all you've ever asked for. Why is it? I remember we had that old ping pong ball table in the garage, but I can't even remember you ever playing. What do you want it for? Why? What does it all mean? You were going to tell me. Well, Dad, the reason that I want a purple ping pong ball is because I want you to be with me. I don't understand, son. Please explain. Well, when I was a little boy, you probably don't remember, we were in the garage together, and we were at the ping pong ball table, and you were teaching me how to play. And I was getting good at it. I could get to the point where I would be able to hit it back almost every time, and we were having so much fun. And then the ball went off the table and under the yard equipment over there, and I went to get it out. I tried to get it out, but it got crushed. So we couldn't use it, and that was the last one that we had. So that was the end of the game. I was hoping you would get more, and we could play again. I mean, I could tell that ping pong was not really your thing, but I really liked it, and I just wanted you to spend time with me. It didn't happen. We never got that ball, and we never continued the game. Son, I'm so sorry. I wanted to show you my love with things, but now I see that you didn't really want things. You just wanted to be together. I can't believe I didn't realize it back then. Please forgive me. The boy said, I love you, Dad. Of course I forgive you. And I'm so happy just to be with you now. One more thing, son. I understand now why you wanted the ping pong ball, but you'd always ask me for a purple ping pong ball. Why purple? I don't understand. Well, Dad, purple's my favorite color. You see, I know that ping pong doesn't interest you the way it interests me. And I know you've said before that purple is probably your least favorite color. So ping pong is not something that you would choose to play all for yourself. And purple is not a color that you would choose just for you. In fact, I've never even seen a purple ping pong ball. You definitely have to go out of your way to find one, or go to the trouble of making one purple. So I knew that if you ever did give me a purple ping pong ball, it would mean that what's important to me is more important than what's important to you. It would mean that you're putting me first. It would mean that I'm what really mattered to you. A purple ping pong ball means I love you, means I want us to be together. The Father and the Son embraced. And thankfully, the boy survived his injuries and made a full recovery. And his dad gave him a purple ping pong ball, and they played happily ever after. Now, what made me think of that old story and of the rest of the story? Well, of course, Christmas is a time when we celebrate that God came down from heaven. We call it the Incarnation. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. God became one of us in order to redeem us, to save us, to fix us, to heal us, to make us whole. Sin had separated us from God, driven us apart, but the power of sin is broken by Jesus Christ. But theologians have long argued that even if we had never sinned, never been estranged from God, that one day the Incarnation still would have happened. Why? Because when you love someone, you want to be with them. When you love someone, what's important to them becomes important to you. And what's special to them becomes special to you. Our God made us for Himself. He came down from heaven so that we could be together. He healed the problem of sin so that we could be in communion with Him. He shared in our humanity so that we could share in His divinity. And the last book of the Bible, when it talks about heaven, talks about it as a new earth where God lives among His people, sharing life together, never to be separated again. So you might say that Advent is sort of something like a purple ping pong ball. It says, I love you. I want to be together. Christ is coming. Now prepare the way of the Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.